In this episode, we are going to be talking about professional and non-professional behavior in the workplace.
So, this next topic is why can't people be more professional in the workspace?
As we're eating.
As we're eating and we're at the end of our batch filming and just completely unprofessional now. So, why can't people separate their personal issues from their
Try again.
Why can't people separate their personal issues from their professional work ethics? Tell me, please.
I want to know.
I want to know why.
Inquiring minds want to know. Okay, so why can't people separate their personal issues from their professional work ethics? You've seen it, I've seen it, people exhibiting unprofessional behavior in the workplace. So maybe you can give an example of something you've seen that just irked you, and then we'll talk about it.
Let's see.
Because you know there's going to be some people that are like, what do you mean by unprofessional?
I mean, you have a personal beef with somebody, right? But then you have to work with them, and then you get all snooty and ruin the whole workflow and the productivity of the office or the business or the store or whatever because you're being all snooty booty with somebody else. And it's you're here to work, you're not here to socialize. And me, I'm really good at separating, I guess, compartmentalizing, my work life, my professional life. Emails I send to Adrian, I can be super professional.
Yeah.
Or I'll be like, hey, what's up? You know?
Her emails are professional. Her messages on Facebook Messenger probably not so professional.
Right, especially if I'm talking to her about something personal or if I'm talking to her about something work related. It's I don't know. A separate personality. You kind of have to have your professional personality and your personal personality. There's ways to talk to people in different settings. Even you don't like the person, okay, you don't like the person. You still have to work with the person, or if it's that bad of a thing, one of you has to go.
Yeah, and when we're talking about professional work ethics, that's basically you treat people with respect within the workplace, regardless of race, age, ethnicity, marital status, you know what I mean? Any of that social, whatever social tier they're on, economic plane, you know what I mean? You treat them with respect, you work with them, you create solutions for problems.
Yeah,
right? That's it. You just do your job.
So, for me, for my professional work environment, I work with a lot of offices and business people, so I have to talk to them accordingly and, professionally. Even if I know them on a personal level, these emails get CC'd to other people who don't know we know each other personally. And you still have to be very professional and think, words.
You're going to use your $10 words, not your 10-cent words, you know what I mean? And you're going to use a different tone, too, that's, you're not going to be,
I wouldn't be over sarcastic in an email, but I might be super sarcastic with the person I talk to.
To your face.
On a personal level, a professional level, you act professional. But, my issue is, when a person specifically doesn't like another person, and then it really creates a negative impact when people are supposed to be working together to achieve a goal. And it's you don't like that person? Fine. You sit on the other end of the table, don't look at them, but get your work done. They need an email from you or they need a document from you, send them the document. You don't have to be all happy, how was your day, let's get lunch after this. Here's the document, and send it to them.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do. You don't have to be all well, I don't like them, so I'm not going to send it to them, so I'm going to send it to you to send it to them. It's it's so annoying.
I see that too. It's you have a job, they have a job, they refuse to do their job just to inconvenience you so you can't do your job. And then they go a step above and say, oh, she's not doing her job. And it's are you freaking kidding me? You're the bottleneck. Really? That's what I've seen, and I'm just fed up with it. So yeah. What kinds of unprofessional behavior have you engaged in? and regret. Is that jumping ahead too soon?
I don't know. I don't engage in unprofessional behavior.
God, that's not how I
So
roll.
I don't regret. Like I said, I'm really good at compartmentalizing professional and personal. Like, even with the people I work with, the business owners, is my younger brother and my husband. Every time I go to the workplace with them, I treat them as if we're all owners, because we are all owners. I ask them their opinions, their vote on everything, even though they tend to default with me professionally, and I guess maybe at some point legally. I need all of their input on what we do as a business. And I never try to overstep my authority over them, because being in a matriarchal society, both Hopi and Navajo, it's basically my way or the highway. But I never try to assert that on them. I always try to get their input and their professional opinions on how we move forward as a business, on whether we take jobs or not. And so with them, like, when we're out meeting people professionally, I treat them professionally. Like, when we're talking together as a business, we present ourselves professionally. We don't go, oh, this is my husband, so I'm going to be all leaning on him and kissing him, whatever. No. Or like, oh, this is my younger brother, so I'm going to tease him and taunt him in front of, clients. No. There's different ways to act around different people, depending on what your profession and what the situation is. So no.
Yeah.
What about you, Adrienne? Have you ever regretted an unprofessional behavior?
When I started taking my work seriously, I was very committed to, doing a great job. How can I go above and beyond? How can I be effective? How can I prove my value? And how can I continue this work into other arenas? How can I, be useful to the mission? And that's been my mindset. So I think, like, when I'm doing something just for pleasure, I'm way more laid back. Like, I don't really care about timelines too much. I'm just kind of like try to be super chill. But when I'm doing something that I'm getting paid to do, I do try to be pretty strict about it. I think my most unprofessional behavior that Kelsey's seen, at least, is like me being tardy.
Yeah.
And she used to get on me all the time about that. Like, Adrienne, like, come on, like, you said you were going to be here at 2. You should be here at 1:45. You know what I mean? Like, come on. And I would show up, like, right at 2 or right after. Like, today, I showed up at 2:05. Little things like that. And then, like, the communication, I would let her know, like, for example, say if I was supposed to be here at 2, I might text her at 1:55 and be like, I'm running late. And, she's ready to go. So I know that, like, that is something I had to address here specifically. In the past, when I was younger, when I first started out, I didn't really take my appearance so seriously. And I was working in an environment where the people I worked with were like, when we show ourselves to the public, we need to show our best selves, We wear our best clothes. We want it to be tailored to fit us properly, be clean. Always wear your jewelry, because we're representing the best and the brightest of the Navajo Nation. And we want to show up like that as a team. And for me, I was like, I'm going to need a raise, because, like, if you want me to buy a whole new wardrobe, you're going to have to pay for it, And so I was able to negotiate a raise to do that, because I didn't own any jewelry, I didn't own any jewelry. I didn't own any, like, nice professional, like, work clothes. And so I learned, and just being open to that, rather than taking offense, just being like, handing it back and being like, okay, well, are you going to pay for this? Because, you know what I mean? And knowing that you can do that, and knowing that you have a right to do that too, to ask for that. And so I learned how to start to kind of like refine myself, in a sense. You know what I mean? I think that I got to a place a couple years ago where I was asked to change some of my behaviors. And from where I was sitting, it felt like I had to sell my soul to fit in. And I was like, hell no. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to do that. I know that I'm not stepping out of bounds. I know that I'm conducting myself in an appropriate manner. And the way I was being approached, though, it just felt like it's either our way or the highway. And I was very conflicted about it. You know what I mean? I felt like I was being, like, forced to conform, forced to be something that I'm not. And I took some time to think about it, and I went back and I was just like, I am not going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I can't compromise who I am. Either you see my value and you recognize what I bring to the table, or you don't, and I'm going to leave. You know? Mm-hmm. And so it was like, how can we have a conversation about this in a way where I don't feel attacked? But let's really talk about it, you know? And so having to have those tough conversations is hard sometimes. And some people might say that's unprofessional, but I think sometimes they only say that to people who are young or who are female. Because no one's saying that to older males oftentimes. You know what I mean? Who are like, no, like, you're going to accept me as I am. I bring a lot to the table. I bring a lot of value. This is my skill set. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if that's, like, just my bias, but I kind of feel like that. I feel like people who are younger and who are female, oftentimes they can get pushed around a lot more easily. And I think I've had to really assert myself as an individual in the workplace. Like, no, you can't push me around. And I want my work to speak for itself. So, so now my question to you guys is that unprofessional or not? You know what I mean? Because from where I sit, it's not. And my mentors have told me that I did the right thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you have to know your value, and you have to negotiate, and you have to stand your ground sometimes. And sometimes when you are out of line, you have to be able to see it, admit it, and change it. And so there was one instance where I did blow up on somebody. Like, I was really upset with them because they were deliberately trying to sabotage a project I was working on. Like, deliberately. You know what I mean? And I was just like, how dare you? And so I went off on that person on the phone. Like, I didn't curse. I didn't use any foul language. But I did tell them that they were a very toxic person, and that I knew they were sabotaging my work, and I did raise my voice. And I know you're not supposed to do that, but I did. I, like, yelled at this person. Like, you are a horrible person. And I know I shouldn't have done that, and I paid the price for it. I did get in trouble, and I haven't done that since. But, yeah.
Okay, did you regret it?
No.
Okay.
That person needed to know.
Alright, so the next question I have is, like, have you ever noticed how professional work culture and attire changed over the years? AKA jeggings, dyed hair, piercings, tattoos. And does it really matter? Mm-hmm. For me, from the industry I come from I guess the genre of music and stuff that I associate with, is no. Mm-hmm. No, you have a piercing, that doesn't mean you're any less of a photographer. Oh, you have a tattoo, doesn't make you less of a sound engineer. Mm-hmm. You know, and I feel like in office spaces, that doesn't make you less of a person who can type. You know, having dyed hair doesn't mean your word count is low. Mm-hmm. These are, like, weird perceptions that I think carries on from old-timey bias.
It's definitely, like, a specific work culture. You know, not all work culture. It's more like if you're working within an office setting, you know, or if you're working within a place where it's like a business, like a big business, you know, setting, like where, like a big large company where they have, maybe I'm wrong about that, but I mean, it is definitely old-timey. I think it is kind of I think it's out of line, because there's a lot of judgment, there's a lot of stereotypes that go along, and I just think that's inappropriate, you know, to label people as incompetent just because of how they look. I mean,
I've seen a lot of photo campaigns of, like, there's a guy, he's a doctor, he, like, has his doctor attire on, and then he has it off, and he's in a t-shirt, and he has full sleeves. Ooh, and you're like, doctor with full sleeves. What the heck? They're the same person. They can do the same thing. They have the same knowledge. Having a tattoo doesn't make him less of a doctor.
He went through the training.
Right?
Yeah, he earned
got his degree.
Yeah.
And I know, like, with my grandma specifically, she's like, I don't like people with tattoos. I think they're ugly. And that's, like, right after I got my cherished tattoo from Jaralyn. I'm like, okay, Grandma. So I just want you to know. I'm like, okay, Grandma. I think it's beautiful. And she's like, okay, you can think that. I'm like, I know.
I
know. But there's still, like, that boomer, I don't want to be ageist.
Boomer mentality.
Like, that's the era it comes from, and even before then it generates down that way. It's like, if you're a business person and you're professional, you have your hair cut nicely, you have your hair done, your button-up shirt, your slacks on, and you are professional.
You can still do a crappy job, though. Like, I know
looking professional doesn't mean you're good at your job.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like, I know people that totally dress the part, and they're, like, so stupid and so unprofessional in so many ways. Just in their behavior and the way they work with other people. And it's just all about, like, the prestige that comes with looking a certain way. And yet they're not performing as they appear. And I'm just like... something's not lining up here. You know what I mean? But it's like, whatever. And some people, that's all they got. You know what I mean? Like, they need the facade in order to move up the ranks. And I hope that they learn, you know, that it's more than that.
But yeah, I don't think you should be automatically disqualified from a job or whatever because you have dyed hair or you have piercings or you have a tattoo.
I don't think so. Like, I have dyed hair and I have a tattoo and I have piercings. But, I mean... I honestly, like, with my business, it doesn't matter, you know, to be a researcher, to be a consultant, to do solar tech work, installations, all that stuff, sales. You don't need to wear this uniform. You just have to know how to do your job well, be personable, be kind, follow our values, you know, that come with the company, and work well with the team, you know, be a team player, be a hard worker. That's all I care about is, like, how do you work with the team, and then how do you work with the public, you know?
Right, like, for us in Happy Accidents, when we were trying to work on a project, we were working with somebody, and literally they were transitioning, you know. They were literally transitioning, so their appearance obviously did not matter. Their work, what they valued, and, you know, their work ethic and their value and their morals were what we were working with.
Yeah.
They literally transitioned from one being to another, and that wasn't why we were with them, and that didn't change the way we worked with them.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about it. But I know, like, people, like, in schools, like, who are teachers and everything, I feel like there's definitely a judgment of, like, if your teacher has a tattoo. But I know high schoolers will think you're a lot cooler if you did.
Oh my god, my son's teacher is all tatted up, and he's got like a punk band, and he's all rowdy, but he's a really good teacher. He's probably one of the best teachers that my son has had, just because of how he connects with the students and how he works with them, and they're absorbing the information he's providing. And that's what I care about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care how he looks, what he does on the weekends with his band. I'm like, dude, like, if you're going to teach my son and you're going to treat him with respect, then that's really all that matters. You know what I mean? You're doing your job.
Yeah, but there's always, like, people who have a stick up their butt about how teachers look or how professionals look, you know? I don't know. It's definitely old-timey bias of, like, where if you were tattooed or pierced and dyeing your hair, you were poor, uneducated menace to society. But you know what?
Society, yeah, for real.
Hair dye and tattoos and piercings, they ain't cheap.
Yeah, and you gotta be tough too, you know what I mean, to, like, deal with the pain, not just the physical pain, but also the societal pain. Just kidding. Well, I think, like, in a school setting too, like, there are certain, like, I think they definitely are strict about, like, the professional work attire that you wear.
Yeah.
And, like, I think I've kind of I've been able to, like, where I work, I've been able to kind of see what is allowed, what's not allowed, and, like, I think if you are going to, if you're going to be more laid back, it almost seems like you have to be associated with a more laid back job. If you're going to be working, you know, with, say, a higher level of the school, like as an administrator, it's almost expected that you almost wear a suit every day. You know what I mean? And you have to have your hair, you have to look well kept and groomed, and
I think
it's very colonial. I don't know. It's very like
colonizers.
It's a conformity to white American standards of what professionalism looks like. And me, I resist that naturally, and I'm just like, I'm going to be a rebel and wear my Crocs today. You know what I mean? And no one thinks that's a rebellious. They think it's silly, but for me, it's like, that's me showing it to the man.
Well, like, I think there's a difference between, like, what were you saying? Well-groomed and just alternative.
Yeah, because, like, well-groomed is, like, and for Navajos, it's hard, because some people have long hair. You know what I mean? But, like, they want you to cut it, or, I don't know. What do you mean alternative?
Like we said, like, the dyed hair and the piercings.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, but even now, like, they have, like, jeggings, which look like jeans, but they're really just stretchy legging pants. And they could look professional, depending on the way you style it.
If you style it, yeah, like with a blazer and a nice blouse and heels. It looks hot, actually, just saying. That's what I wear.
But, you know, it's like, it's definitely not like the 3-piece suit, slacks, and everything, which can still look nice and professional. I just feel like if you like wearing it and it's appropriate for your job, then it's fine. Because, like, I definitely don't want, like, a dentist being all...
in jeggings.
I don't care about jeggings.
I'm just kidding.
You know, with, like, their acrylic nails and in my teeth. That doesn't seem
right.
You know, like,
appropriate to your job, right? Like,
to your job.
Like, I work in an office setting, so, like, my work attire, like, in the spring and then summer, I wear pencil skirts and a blouse and heels. In the winter, sometimes I'll wear, like
pants?
Like, tailored pants. Yeah, like
slacks?
Slacks. Yeah, like, fitted slacks, a blazer. Sometimes I'll wear the college's gear because of some of the work I'm engaged in. I've been able to get some really cool jackets with, like, my name on it. And so I wear that, and it has a logo. And so wearing that, then I can be more laid back, I've noticed. I can get away with, like, dark jeans and, like, you know, like the shirt with my name on it or the coat with my name on it. And then other times, I also notice I can get away with wearing more, like today I'm wearing Wranglers and boots. And, like, a button-up like this, which is more like something you might wear on a ranch or, like, a farm or at a sheep camp. But you can get away with it where I work. So I'm, like, sometimes I'll dress like that, especially if it's, like, for an event. Like, I was doing an event, it was a fishing tournament, and I wore overalls.
But, you know, that's appropriate.
But it was appropriate for the job, yeah, because I needed, like, all the pockets. And it needed to be durable because we were in the dirt and in the water, and so it was like, I gotta be ready for the team, you know what I mean? Like, be on top of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, for me, if I'm on the job and it's, like, a really serious, like, filming job,
yeah,
I have to, like, wear dark pants, a dark shirt. Probably not something that's all noisy because you don't want to pick that up. And you wear dark because if you're in a reflection, you don't really notice the reflection.
Yeah.
Like, it's the black thing on the glass. You won't really notice it, but, like, if you're wearing a bright yellow thing on a glass, like, that's a bright yellow person right there. Where they come from? You know?
I've noticed that, too. Like, when they came to do a video at the college, they were all dressed in black. And it was cool, because you knew that they were a team. You also knew that they were a film team. It was, like, cool, you know? They knew what they were doing. I worked with another videographer, and he had this noisy jacket.
Oh, my gosh.
And we were trying to do interviews. He's all, whoop, whoop, whoop. And I was like, dude, take your jacket off. You know what I mean? Like, we can hear you.
But yeah, so like you know, there's appropriate things, but then also like if Ryan's out doing his sound engineering job, he probably doesn't have to be all dressed in black or anything. You're like, you know,
can
even
like anything.
Zoom meetings, all I have to do is put on a top and I can be in pants.
Yeah, I think one thing that I know is not ever appropriate, at least where I work, is like if you're showing too much skin at work. I know that they really look down on that, because I heard of one guy who complained about a girl because he thought her shortcuts were too high, even though they were at an outdoor event. It's like, so some people will nitpick things like that. Like, I was told never to wear flip-flops to work, ever.
Those are just like...
Yeah, some people are like, well, you could get hurt. It's a safety thing. Other people are like, no one wants to see your toes. You know what I mean? But, I mean, yeah, so it just depends on your job. Like, I used to be a lifeguard. You know, wearing a blazer to the pool is just stupid. You know what I mean? Wearing jeans to the pool is going to bring you down. You got to wear a bathing suit. Yeah, like, literally. Wearing shoes that lace up is not smart, because if you have to jump in and save somebody... You know, so you need your flip-flops. So it's like, just wear the... I mean, I think just wearing the clothes that are going to help you do your job most effectively is great. And
then if you, like, style it up and, like, add crazy colors, that's fun.
I love that. I work with this one girl. She's Navajo Nez, so she's, like, my sister by clan. And, dude, she dresses so cool. Like, she makes her own dresses, and then she styles all of her sweaters. Like, she's got flair. You know what I mean? Like, she wears pins and brooches and jewelry, and she does her hair with beautiful scarves, and, like, I love her style. Every time I see her at the office, she, like, makes me happy. You know what I mean? Like, I love the way she dresses, and it's not at all, like, conservative. It's not at all in a box. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's really, like, she expresses herself like that, and she's not wearing really tight, revealing clothes. It's just, like, she's found a really beautiful medium between, like, fashion and, like, traditional wear. You know what I mean? And she does a really beautiful job of it, and I love it. So, yeah, some people really go, like, above and beyond, I think. Like, there's this one girl, too, she wears, like, it almost looks like conservative pinup style. Like, she wears these beautiful fitted, tailored dresses to work, and she'll pair it with some nice heels, and I'm just like... You look like you fell out of a magazine. You know what I mean? Like, I love her outfits, and it's not boring. It's not like beige and gray. Like, she wears color and patterns, and I don't know. Like, I really appreciate that, and I think, like, working on the res, you don't see that very often, because a lot of people, they all shop at, I don't know, like, I've worked in other places, and it's almost like everyone's trying to disappear. You know? Like,
yeah,
they're not trying to, like, show their style. So, or maybe I just notice certain people's style that's kind of out there,
maybe
and I love that.
Style.
Yeah, maybe, I think that. I think I don't see people that don't have style, and I really do notice those that do, and I appreciate it. And I'm like, yeah, you're badass, you know? Like, keep it up.
Yeah, and, like, I guess... Yeah, because, like, my soulmate, she loves to, like, dress up nicely and everything, and she dresses appropriately, but she's also a punk rocker at heart, so she always adds a little punk rockiness to it, and I appreciate that. But then, you know, some people just like to dress fancy and professional.
I really want to start wearing a hat. I was telling Kelsey this, because, like, I don't know, but I really loved the way Willie Jack was dressed in Reservation Dogs when she had that hat, and, like, that guy on the horse was walking by, and she's like, and I was like, I want to be able to do that. You know what I mean? Like, wear a dark hat and a blazer and, like, boots, and just look all, like, I don't know, like the villain in an old Western. You know what I mean? Like, my shooters on the side. I don't know. I just think it looks so dope, and I just feel like I want to, like, use that as an intimidation tactic, too. You know, like, don't mess with me.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not a bully. I just feel like there's a certain, like, at least where I work, I know that people respond to certain appearances. And, I don't know, I just want to try it out and see how it works out. But, like, there are times when I have to be bold. How can we and others be more professional in the workplace?
Like I said, just do your job. You know, you have your job description. At bare minimum, do your job. And then if you can do your job while also socializing, sure. But it doesn't have to be about gossip. It doesn't have to be about talking about other people. Or one thing I really don't like is when you don't like another person at your work, so you make the work harder for them, and thus making the work harder for everyone else.
Yeah.
And, like, you don't have to be friends with everyone you work with, but you should be a little bit friendly.
You don't got to be friends with anybody you work with, but you should still behave like a decent human being, you know? And you should be competent. That should be, like, the bare minimum that you do every day is, like, just be competent. Do your job, be effective, and, you know, like I always say, solve some of the problems that come your way. You know, don't create the problems, you know? Like, yo.
Yeah, so that's what we have to say about professional work attire. I think it's changing. People are getting more relaxed with, tattoos and piercings and hair dye and everything, and that's nice. It's refreshing to not see, cookie cutter people coming out of the workplace.
Yeah.
You see people's style and personality a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it's refreshing.
Like, I know some super, like, bad A women who are, like, great at their work, and, you wouldn't know just based on their performance, because these women are, like, on top of their game, and you wouldn't know that, like, on the weekends they're, like, riding motorcycles and, like, being hellions, and it's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, they're so good at their job that, people are not judging them based on the lifestyle they've chosen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it should be. Like, we should all be able to live our lives and be our authentic selves and feel like it's safe to do so. But if we're being competent and effective, then that's all that should matter.
In the workplace.
In the workplace, yeah. In the workplace.
Go to Happy Accidents Buy Me a Coffee account for an exclusive hot tea video going live March 30th. Links in the descriptions below.